Oh, how we used to laugh at Chinese copycat cars a few years ago when the Chinese automakers were still in their infancy and all they could do was copy what Western automakers were doing. But fast forward to 2025 and some of the best, especially electric cars, are coming out of China these days. It is undoubtedly the world's center for EV innovation. The electric cars coming out of China these days are so good that the Chinese automakers are confident that European buyers will choose them over the traditional brands they've been used to for decades. It's really remarkable how good the cars coming out of China today are. And there's probably no better example of a Chinese car with very high European ambitions than the Zeekr 7X. Zeekr, if you don't know, is one of the, I think, 14 brands under the Geely or Geely umbrella. And these brands include Volvo, Polestar, Proton, Lotus, and a few others. Zeekr is pitched as a premium brand with a tech focus and a software focus. During the presentation that Zeekr held last night, company representatives were proud to announce that this is an SDV, and that means software-defined vehicle. And if you don't know what that means, it's in the name. This vehicle is defined by its software, and it's one of the quiet revolutions in the automotive industry happening today. While most of the focus is on the shift from combustion to electric power, there's also a shift towards more software definition of vehicles, for lack of a better explanation. Software is playing an ever more important role in modern cars, and that's something that Western automakers, the ones that we're used to, just don't seem to get. And it's what is giving China such a big lead. And the 7X perfectly embodies that. It runs Zeekr's own proprietary infotainment software, which is fantastic. There's hardly anything to criticize about it, frankly. It's just as good as the best ones out there, like what you might find in a Tesla. It actually feels a bit inspired by Tesla, but it's by no means a copy. It does its own thing. The 7X actually draws on Geely's connection to Volvo, and it was designed in Gothenburg, Sweden. It's about 4.8 meters long and it rides on a 2.8 meter long wheelbase, so it's pushing the boundaries of what we might consider a mid-size crossover these days. It's a bit on the big side, but this is in keeping with Zeekr's ethos of offering as much as it can within the confines of a certain segment. It is quite a big vehicle for sure, but there's just tons and tons of room in the back. This is a trait of Chinese cars. Executive Chinese car buyers really like having a lot of rear leg room. And the 7X really delivers. Zeekr reps told us last night that this car is supposed to be able to handle a 2-meter tall passenger in the back. That's somewhere between 6 and 7 foot, 6 and a bit feet. So you should be able to fit a couple of basketball players in the back without pushing the front seats any further forward than you would like to. And for me, in my driving position, I have very ample knee room. I still would have plenty of room. You can also slide your feet all the way underneath the front seat. The seat itself has a reclining backrest in this top-of-the-range car that I'm testing today. It's really luxurious, and I haven't even started on the most luxurious features that this car has. So let me tell you first a little bit about the 7X. The car rides on a version of the SEA platform, the Scalable Electric Architecture, versions of which you can find in many Geely cars. I still don't know how to pronounce it. I'm pretty sure the right way to say it is Geely. But everybody at this Zeekr event kept calling it Geely, so I think we're gonna go with that. This platform allows for a lot of range in the size of the vehicles that it can underpin. I think this is on the bigger side of what it can handle, but it has a lot of luxury car features. Again, I keep coming back to that. It's what struck me most about this car. But let me get the basics out of the way first. The standard 7X gets a 75 kilowatt hour LFP battery pack. You can upgrade to a 100 kilowatt hour battery that in rear-wheel drive single motor guys give this car over 500 kilometers of WLTP range. In China, it's rated at 700, but that seems quite unrealistic. The single motor variant has 422 horsepower, and it's more than enough to push this 2-ton beast around from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.8 seconds. If you go for the larger battery pack with the single motor, Zeekr says that it's still able to do 5.7 seconds to 62 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour, which is the benchmark here in Europe. Adding a second motor and making this car all-wheel drive bumps the power output to 646 horsepower, and it drops the sprint time to 100 kilometers per hour to 3.8 seconds. And it feels every bit as quick as the figures might have you believe. It's really, really strong, the acceleration in this dual motor. Through the corners, I was pleasantly surprised by the steering, which doesn't have any feel, but we've gotten used to that in modern cars. But like in any good car these days, it gives you confidence with its precision and how well judged it is. It's clear that a lot of thought went into the driving experience of this car, maybe more so than even other Chinese cars that are trying to woo European buyers these days. This drives great. It gets air suspension in this top of the range model that allows you to raise the ride height by up to 4.5 centimeters, so almost 2 inches. And it's pretty decent off-road, although it can only be so good. I'm pretty sure some of this car's excellent steering feel comes from the fact that the front suspension is of the double wishbone variety. Overall, it doesn't really feel sporty. I was following an old Porsche 911, a 993, around the twisty road earlier today in this car, and it doesn't really like corners that much. It tends to understeer a bit, and when you floor it out of corners, the front tires lose grip. But it's fun in its own right. It's just not very sporty feeling. But for this kind of vehicle and for the type of buyers that will get this car, its handling is more than admirable. I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was and how well it rides. The suspension is, like the steering, very well judged. This car has an 800-volt architecture, and this allows for not only very efficient running, more efficient than a 400-volt EV, because by having a higher voltage, you can lower everything else, like the amperage needed for a certain power output, and is generally more efficient. But it also allows this car to charge really quickly. Zeekr says that this is the quickest charging electric vehicle currently in production, although I think they were referring to the ones available in Europe, because things are getting really crazy in China with charging speeds. I mean, they're talking about megawatt chargers and 1.4 megawatt chargers, and 10 to 80% in 10 minutes or less, which would really rival the time it takes to just put gas in a regular combustion car. The performance is really all there. You can play with the settings, you can choose between acceleration in comfort standard or sport, regenerative braking in standard or strong, steering mode in comfort standard or sport. I prefer sport since I like a bit of weight to my steering, and I feel that most modern cars have steering that feels too light. I also like the fact that in this air suspension equipped example that I'm driving today, you can change the ride height on the go. So you have 3 choices that you can go for and 2 that are grayed out. So you have low, standard, and high, but also very low and very high. The car set itself automatically into very low when we were driving on the highway earlier today. And it set itself automatically to very high when I selected, off-road mode. And it turns itself off if you go above 40 kilometers per hour. This car also has advanced ADAS. It has adaptive cruise control that keeps you in your lane. It also has an automated lane change feature, which actually really works. All you have to do is keep your hand a bit firmly on the steering wheel so that the car knows you're holding onto the wheel, because otherwise it cancels the lane change. It has 11 cameras around, and it has radar, and in the driver's display, so it shows other cars and they jiggle around a little bit, just like in a Tesla. Even though in a Tesla, I always attributed that to it only having cameras. It also has the usual stuff that is mandated by the EU these days: autonomous emergency braking, crash mitigation, and avoidance systems. And overall, it feels like a really well-engineered car, both on the software and sensors and safety side, but also as a mechanical thing. It doesn't feel half-assed. And speaking of the quality and the luxury features inside here, Most surfaces you touch are soft and pleasant. There's a mix of materials here. It's pretty good. You get like a shiny leather-like material, then a more matte suede-like feel lower down. There's also what feels like actual metal around the speaker grills. The seats in this top of the range car are fully electric, so they move every way. They have an electric adjustable thigh support. The only thing that's not electric is the headrest. Since they went to the trouble of making everything else electric, they should just make that electric as well, I think. The front seats are both cooled and heated, and they have a really good massage function. I'm not a fan of massage seats in cars because I always feel like they're a bit limp-wristed, I guess would be the term best used to describe them. But this is, it really gives you a nice punch in the back when you enable it. Probably the most extravagant uber luxury feature that this car has are the automatic doors, like the ones you would get on a Rolls-Royce or a BMW i7. I haven't experienced them on a Rolls-Royce, but I will say that the doors on the 7X, the automatic doors that open and close by themselves at the touch of a button, are better than the ones in the BMW, which are a bit temperamental. These seem to open quicker, they open more consistently wider, because the ones in the BMW sometimes open this much, sometimes they open this much, sometimes they just crack open a little bit. It's annoying, and I didn't find it as annoying or annoying at all in the 7X, to be honest. And I also like that Zeekr has hidden the ultrasonic sensors that detect obstacles to tell the doors how much to open. Whereas in the BMW, they just look like parking sensors that were plonked on the door. Another cool feature is the huge panoramic sunroof that covers the entire roof, and it's big enough to make me forgive the fact that you cannot open any part of it. I have a problem with big panoramic roofs that are fixed. I want to open it. I want to have a somewhat of a convertible experience. The car also has an augmented reality head-up display, which works pretty well. It shows you various obstacles, like for instance, it shows you an actual representation of a crosswalk as you approach it. There's a lot more to talk about, but unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time with it. The 7X is a very promising vehicle. It shows a very bright future for Zeekr. If this is one of their first vehicles for a brand founded in 2021, we should really look out for these cars. Pricing, I don't think it's been announced yet. The base model starts with a 5, I think. So it's a more luxurious alternative and a bit bigger alternative to Tesla Model Y, which I drove recently. And it feels a bit sportier and lighter on its feet, and it's a more fun to drive vehicle. But this is a more luxurious car. It will appeal to a different type of buyer. And yeah, I think it's good. I can't wait to see what Zeekr has in store for the future. Thank you for watching.